All right, so Dallas just did a live stream over on the Chosen channel. Buried in that live stream is a really good explanation of when we can expect to see the Chosen season 5 out in DVD and things like that, then into Chosen season 6 and season 7. And so he does a really great explanation here. I wanted to signal boost this and talk about it right here. I'll have a little bit of discussion afterwards as well. So let's go through this.
So many questions. And some expressed confusion, and then some even expressed disappointment about the release plans for season 6 and 7. People will sometimes walk out of the finale of season 5 and go, when's season 6 coming out? When's season 6 coming out? I need it now. And then I've seen articles, I've seen announcements, I've even contributed to some of this. So I want to have a kind of a heart-to-heart, face-to-face, here we go, family chat about all of that, about when things are coming out in the future and how we announce this. We've had some people, when they'll ask when, and sometimes they'll even express some anger or some disappointment, like, why is there a delay? And this is wrong. And they're just doing it for the money, or they're just doing it because whatever motives that sometimes people want to assign. So what I'd like to do is kind of share with you why we do some of this stuff, what our situation is, why the release schedule is sometimes the way that it is. And then also just kind of give some new rules for the future. So we have always been extremely transparent. And so you kind of get in real time some of the thoughts and plans that we have. And I like that. And that's been that way from day one. We do that because especially if we're asking you to donate to the show, if we're asking you to trust in a show about Jesus and the gospel, you need to trust me. You need to know kind of what's going on behind the scenes. And so we've always been extremely transparent, monumentally more so than any other movie or television show in history. So you get a peek behind the curtain. And sometimes with that comes like kind of our in real time thoughts of, okay, we think it might come out at this time and we're not sure. Well, I'm going to start reducing some of that. Now, I'm not reducing your access to the set and your access to social media and all that kind of stuff and the behind the scenes. But when it comes to releases, there's so much confusion that comes as a result of this. And sometimes people have certain expectations that we're just not going to do that anymore. I'm not going to give you dates. And I'm not saying this aggressively. I'm just saying, just moving forward, we're not going to give dates until we have them locked in. So we're just not going to talk about release schedules anymore until we know the date. So when you come and you'll say on social media, when is season 6 coming out? I have instructed my team to start saying, we don't know, or we'll let you know when we know the exact date, or let's just focus on the current season, just because it just leads to so much confusion and sometimes certain expectations. And then when they're not met, sometimes those expectations aren't even accurate. And so we're just going to be like, from now on, and I've just made this clear. And in fact, just want to clear up on one of our app notifications earlier this week. They said we're going to be talking about dates of future seasons. I said, no, we're not giving dates anymore. And there was just some miscommunication about that, even just internally. And I'm saying from now on, I just want everyone to know that we're not going to be talking about release schedules anymore. Season 6 will come. We will tell you the dates when we know them. Now, that's sometimes you might go, well, man, last time the time in between seasons was 1 year or X amount. Why isn't it that way this time around? Just to remind you, I just wanted to kind of give you some context of all this. Most TV shows take longer in between seasons than we do. I mean, you think of like some of your favorite shows, sometimes there's a 2-year gap, a 3-year gap in between seasons. We are trying to do it as fast as we possibly can. And I'll get into some of the reasons why that's not maybe as fast as you would like sometimes. But that's another thing, that no other show gives dates for future seasons. Like you typically, when a season comes out, they're not saying, okay, then the next season will come out at this time. And like, because A, they don't know, and B, they don't want to talk about it. They want to talk about the current season. And so that's another reason why I'm just like, all right, we just got to stop talking so much about future seasons, getting expectations high or low or whatever it is. So season 6, one thing I will clear up, because there's been some rumors in the past. Here's what's happening. Season 6, the first 6 episodes are going to be coming out sometime next year. It won't be early next year, and I'll get into why that is. But most likely, and I'll just say this, most likely it will come out sometime next year. Okay, so I don't know that for sure, but it's come out most likely sometime next year, but it won't be early. Then there's the finale, which is going to be a global theatrical event. Okay, so that's going to be, though, after the first 6 episodes have come out. There's going to be a period of time in between episode 6 and the finale. Now, again, we don't know exactly when that's going to be, but I'm just wanting to kind of clear up what's been talked about in the past. So it's not like it's its own thing. It's not like the season's going to be shorter. In fact, the season's going to be probably a little longer than normal, but how we're releasing it and when is just going to be a little different than what we've done in the past. Okay. So that's going to happen for season 6 and season 7. Now, the reason that season 6 is going to come out later next year than season 5 or season 4 came out in terms of their time during the year, is just to let you know, I'm directing this show myself. The overwhelming majority of shows have multiple directors, sometimes 3 or 4, 5 directors in a season. That allows them to get episodes done a little bit quicker. So most shows have multiple directors. There's a handful of shows, off the top of my head, I can think of less than 5, where there's one director. So while I'm filming, I'm not also, getting certain episodes done, because like typically you'll have a director who does one episode and that's all they're focused on. So I'm doing it all these seasons myself. So that ends up taking some time and slowing down the post-production process. We also want to increasingly have as many languages as possible released at one time. And that takes a lot of time. The translation, the dubbing, the subtitling, all of that takes a very long time. And so that's one of the reasons why some shows that do have multiple languages that come out, why there's such a gap in between seasons. But we are trying to release as many languages at one time as we can. And that's just going to take time. Now that we've become more of an internationally recognized show, an internationally viewed show, we have these obligations that we want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to see it at the same time if possible. The process of getting these seasons to you at the cadence that we've been doing has been extraordinarily taxing on the team. The quality control process has been much faster and tighter than most shows and movies. That's caused a lot of pain, a lot of challenges. Sometimes things get missed, and so we just don't want that to happen anymore. We also now have multiple distributors, multiple vendors all over the world that all have individual needs, individual quality control requirements, all of that stuff. So the operation has massively increased since what it used to be. So we just need your patience with that. We need your patience and your grace. It just takes time. The team that works on this is extraordinarily stretched thin. And so it's just a very, very difficult process. And so I have had to say, look, to give them a break. They've been begging me, to give a little bit more of a cushion. And so we're going to definitely be doing that for future seasons. And, again, we're not owned by some big studio. We don't have $1 billion at our disposal to make all this work. We're doing a lot of this from scratch. And so it just takes time and it's very difficult. So please be patient with us as we get through that. And also the show itself has just gotten bigger. Things take longer with more visual effects, more production value, the locations that we're filming at. I mean, everything's just taking longer. This season 6, is going to take us longer to film than any season we've ever done by far. So that, of course, then pushes the post-production process as well. So just please be grateful for the fact that we try to get it to you as soon as possible. Be grateful for the fact that the show has grown and gotten bigger and that we are trying to satisfy the needs of everyone around the world. So there's a lot of good news in this. It just means that you might have to wait. And I've just decided to avoid confusion, to avoid missed expectations. We're just not going to talk about release schedules anymore until we know the dates. So I'm sure I can count on you to be patient and grace-filled as we do that. And you can be helpful when you see other people asking questions or expressing frustration or whatever. Just say, look, you can kind of remind them of what I've said in this live stream. In the meantime, though, what we try to do also is give other things to tide you over in between seasons, whether it's Christmas specials or Chosen Con or special events, or yes, other projects like the Chosen Adventures, the animated project that's coming this year, the Joseph miniseries that we're currently developing that's going amazingly well, the Bear Grylls show, some of our behind-the-scenes content, our documentaries that we do for each season, all of those things we do to try to give you content consistently so that, in between these seasons, you've still got stuff to tide you over. While I'm thinking of it, Bob, because it just came to me, DVD release, I know a lot of people are asking about that. DVD release for season 5. What's the update on that? Because do we have dates on that yet?
It'll release after Amazon.
It'll release after the Amazon. Yeah, well, yes, we're pre-selling it now, but I'm not talking too much about that because you pre-sell it and pre-buy it now. It's going to be a while before it comes out. So it'll come out later this summer. Like how long after the Amazon release? Do you know? Day after. Okay. So the day after season 5 is when the DVDs are going to be available. Yes, but you can pre-buy them now. After what? After episode 8 is done, yes, done showing. So Bob would love for me to go all in on talking about the pre-sales, but I'm always like, let's not talk about that too much because it's a ways off before they're.
So overall, I super agree with this. I think that Dallas, of course, has a right to privacy. As the show is not as crowdfunded as it used to be, of course, it still is through Come and See, a nonprofit kind of crowdfunding. It's a little bit different than it was when it started, but overall, of course, he has the right to kind of say when the show is going to come out and what is going to be happening there. There's way too much pressure, I think, from a lot of people around the world right now to push into season 6 and 7. We want this to take time, right? We want this to be good. We want it to be as great as it can possibly be, especially seasons 6 and 7, which deal with the crucifixion and the resurrection, the most important parts of the story, right? And so as we get into this, we really need this to be high quality. We really need it to be as good as it possibly can be without any mistakes or anything like that. Like he kind of mentioned in this section here, there's been some parts before where there were mistakes in The Chosen. I've texted Dallas myself to fix some of those mistakes within The Chosen because they've gotten dates wrong or some things have been missed in the editing process or different things like that. Not that the show is bad. We know that the show is great, and generally they get 99.999% of those mistakes, but it does happen. He wants to prevent that from happening, especially in these future seasons. It's going to be really important. So yeah, overall, it's pretty hard that we're going to have to wait, but at the same time, it's going to be worth it because in 3 years, whenever all the seasons are out for The Chosen, you know, we can look back and say, wow, this series was well done. It was the thing that transformed Christian media. And so I think that's what we really need to be focused on overall, not the fact that we're going to have to wait a little bit. And for those of you that always comment in my comment section about maybe you won't live until the season is out, don't worry about that because you'll have a way better view than all the rest of us, even if you do pass. So it'll be okay, right? We believe in what we believe for a reason. And so I think that's really, really important. Anyway, overall, let me know your thoughts about what Dallas said here, his explanation here. What are your thoughts about all of this? It's very similar to what I talked about earlier because I had talked to Dallas about this, but he gave us some better nuance here from his point of view and what he's expecting us to expect for season 6 and season 7. Anyway, we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.